This section, we host two speakers, Elizabeth Basok, virtual educator at Ismail State University of Humanities, and Jordan Brown, English language fellow at Ada University in Baku. So our first presenter is Elizabeth Basok, who currently works as a virtual educator in Izmail, Ukraine. Elizabeth is originally from the United States, but currently lives in Budapest, Hungary. Today, Elizabeth is going to present a workshop on the topic From Community to Global Stage, how English conversation clubs serve students. In this workshop, you'll get
also foster. Oh, sorry. I also noticed that the conversation clubs do create a sense of community. They build, the students are able to connect with other students. And my Hearson students, they have no face-to-face classes, so everything's online. And a lot of my students have mentioned that they feel like they don't have much of a social life, you could say. You know, their classes are all online. One student in Hearson said she doesn't even really feel comfortable going out, walking around. It's just not something she's able to do. So I do think these conversation clubs give students a chance to be more social, to connect with their classmates, and talk in a non-academic way. So, yeah. And I actually did a survey with my students, not just my students, but about 50 students responded to this, so it was great. But some things that my students were saying was English skills will prepare me to be part of international communities. Another student said, knowledge of different languages is very important for the world. The more languages you know and can speak, the better. English is a global language, and knowing it opens many doors to a successful future. And this quote's a little long. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing, but so another student, this is probably my favorite response that I got, but this student says that learning English gives us the opportunity to speak clearly and more openly about the war crimes that Ukrainians are experiencing right now. So this was a response from one of my students. Here's actually a screenshot from my Hearson students. You can see over here. And I also did some other polls. So what motivates you the most to learn English during this time? And so most people were focused on their career. A lot of my students are training to become interpreters or English teachers. And some were just interested in English in general. Mm-hmm. And the second most common response was desire to communicate with others globally. So this desire to connect with people globally. And what demotivates you the most? And you can't see exactly what it says here, but it says stress or lack of focus due to the war. So, and tech issues. So that was the number one response about what demotivates students when it comes to learning English online. Understandable. Okay, so different types of clubs. We have just open conversation. That's when the teacher can come in, or the host of the conversation club can just come in and not necessarily have anything prepared, but just talk. Open conversation clubs. I have found that these are not the best from my experience. I've gone into a conversation clubs where I have I'm like, oh, we'll just talk. We'll just talk. Disaster. I don't recommend this. Basically, it's really helpful to have a theme or topic-based conversation club from my experience, because a lot of these students, they might not feel very comfortable speaking in English, or just maybe a little shy in general. So just going in there and being like, hey, how's everybody doing? Maybe it's a recipe for disaster. So I usually, for each conversation club, I usually try to have a theme. So my conversation club yesterday, we were talking about careers, future careers, for instance. And I might have a listening aspect to it where I tie in some media, where we watch the video in the class. So I usually aim for a video that's about 3 to 5 minutes long. Another kind of conversation club I've had in the past, which wasn't as successful with my younger students, was media driven. So they would have to watch a pod or listen to a podcast beforehand or read an article or watch a video. For students, this wasn't really practical. They're already so busy. They have so much homework. They have classes to attend. It was not, it wasn't really, I'm like, hey, did anyone listen to the podcast? No. So having the short videos in the class, in the actual conversation club is probably more ideal. But I have done the media-driven like conversation clubs with older students, and it was successful. They actually had the time or made the time. Task-based, I've actually never really experimented with the task-based ones, but like having a debate, having the students speak for an extended period of time on a certain topic, it could be interesting, but I've never really done that. I feel like that would create too much pressure, but maybe if you have a group of higher level speakers, this would be ideal. So things to consider when you're starting a conversation club. So what's the target group? Maybe you have very young students. Maybe they're like middle school students. Maybe they're like most of my students are like 17 to 20. But I have had groups where they're older, like my age. So what's their level? What are their goals? Are they just trying to become more confident in their speaking? Are they hoping to like build their vocabulary? Prepare weekly topics or themes, like I said. This is really important because there's nothing more awkward than going into a conversation club and people are just, uncomfortable. They don't want to talk. So having something ready to go is always beneficial. And I also like to keep a conversation club tracker because I don't want to be repetitive. So I actually draw from several resources for my conversation club. I have a book, for instance, that I use, and sometimes I'm like, oh God, did I already do this one? Did I already talk about this? So also, if you're running like several conversation clubs, sometimes it can be a little confusing. So I do have a tracker, and I'll share that with you guys in the chat, where you can kind of like plan, like this week, we're talking about careers, we're talking about this. So I'll share that in the chat. Let's see. So timing, roles, material. It's good to have that ready. What kind of platforms are you going to use? Generally, I use Telegram. That's what my students have, like to remind them about the conversation clubs, and we meet on Zoom. And also have some ready-to-go activities. Maybe people just are not biting on this topic. There's a topic they just don't care about. And so if you kind of start to feel that panic, like, oh God, this really isn't sticking, you can actually move on to an activity. Yep. How am I doing on time? Am I okay? I'm okay. Okay. All right. So some potential go-to activities you have are speed chatting, so also known as speed dating, but obviously we're not doing that in the conversation club. I mean, I don't know. So this is kind of just like the idea of speed dating. You have some topics, and then every 2 to 3 minutes you switch up the groups. So you could just switch up the breakout rooms and have the students socializing with multiple people. The game Would You Rather, it's a really fun, easy to go to game. You don't really have to prepare for it. You can ask funny or strange dilemmas. Would you rather do this or that? Debate topics, that's always fun. This would probably be better for more advanced speakers. Opinion corners, so maybe you've done this in a classroom where, oh, if you agree with this, go to the left. If you disagree with this, go to the right. In this case, you could do something like, if you agree with this, use the clap hands reaction. If you disagree, use thumbs down reaction on Zoom. Show and tell, this is something you would probably, I mean, I think this could work. The students are at home. You can ask them to show an object or tell us about an object that's important to them and why it's important. Also, so this activity is another kind of like go-to activity you can do. In this activity, you start with something random. You could say, let's open a cat cafe. And then the next person would say yes, and we'll accept payment in dance moves. So this is something done in improv comedy where you kind of just build the story as you go. So you can start with a statement and then the next person would say, yes, and so if I say, for instance, let's try it. If I say, let's build a school, what's something that you could say in response? Yes, and anybody? No pressure, but anybody? Let's build a school. Yes, and any volunteer? Alina, were you saying something?
From the point of view of teachers or students, because teachers thinks about a lot of documents which
You
should
can
be
think about it from a teacher's point of view. Yeah, that's fine. You can say yes and
a lot of documents as well as finance which we need to obtain.
okay. I mean, yeah, you could say that. You could say, I could say, let's build a school, and you could say yes and we'll file documents. I imagine the students would say something like yes and we'll hire comedians as teachers. And then the next person, yes, and they'll get paid through blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's a fun activity. I've done this several times with my students, and it always gets to a really crazy story all in all. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy improv comedy too, so it's nice when you can just put that into your life. Okay. So keeping a tracker, I will send this in the chat where I just have it on Microsoft Word. Keeping a weekly tracker, so having the topic, the main activity, objective. Maybe if you have like a certain objective, I want them to do this and this. Usually I don't have a clear objective for each class, but I do have a clear theme and I do have some activities, and I just don't want to be repetitive. I want to keep it interesting so they keep coming back, basically. But yeah, I'll share this in the chat. So some conversation club options that I know of. So of course we have the Virtual Education Fellowship Program.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Excuse me for my lating.
Oh, you're fine.
I hope each of you are happy. How are you feeling today? Let's write in chat. I am happy. I am sad. I am boring. I am tired. Please, let's write in your chat.
Okay. Well, I'm happy. Also, American House. So there's several options in Ukraine. There's American House Kiev, American House Lviv. I don't know. They have in-person conversation clubs and online ones. So if you want to, let's say, maybe you live too far away from Kiev or Lviv or something, you can join online. It's free. It's free. Peace Corps Ukraine. This is also online. It's all run by volunteers. Like I said, I'm one of the volunteers. You can always reach out to them and ask them about conversation clubs. Also, ENGIN I think it's called Engine, how they say it, but they have conversation partners. They will pair you with somebody one-on-one. So maybe if you have somebody who's a little bit more on the shy side, this is really beneficial because they can still get English practice, but it's just one-on-one. So here so this is Charlie. He's actually the person at American House that runs the Conversation Club, or at least one of them. He meets weekly. The one online is it's Monday. It's on Monday, and you can sign up for free. So can you also send these references? Oh yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I can do that. Sure. So you can see here the conversation clubs run by Charlie are free and online. He has them in person too. If you're in Kiev, you can actually go to his movie nights as well. So here we go. And some of the resources that I use for my conversation club would be this this book here. It's a really long title. So I got this on Amazon. I just have it through Kindle. It's been really a lifesaver. I know we could just use Chat GPT to find discussion topics, but I feel like having this textbook has been really beneficial because everything's lumped together into themes. And so I can kind of draw from that, and it's been really helpful for me. Also, Internet TESOL Journal for topic-based questions. I can send you the link to these as well in the chat, but this also is like you can choose a category. So let's say I want to talk about I want to talk about this topic. You click on it, and there's a ton of discussion questions here. But yeah, this first one is really, really good. And it's for B1 to C1 level speakers. So yeah, I've had a lot of success with this. It doesn't just have discussion questions. It actually has activities as well, like forming interview questions or interview your partner, compare this and this. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, and this was actually from my class yesterday. We were experimenting with the new formatting they have with Zoom. But yeah, any questions any questions, comments you have? And I can actually share those resources with you too.
If you'd like. Thank you. Does anyone have a question?
I have a question. Can I ask you, please? So
yeah, sure.
Probably I have missed the beginning of your presentation, but can you please tell how we can invite you to work for Odessa National Polytechnic University, or how we can join our students can join your club?
So with my Harrison Club is actually next week is the last week for my Harrison Club. I'm going to be with Cherkasy for until Christmas. So maybe I can reach out to TESOL-Ukraine, or not TESOL-Ukraine, Peace Corps. Sorry, Peace Corps Ukraine. But yeah, if you want to organize something, that would be great. I probably should have shared my email address.
Yeah.
I probably should have done that. I can share my email, the tracker in the chat as well. So
thank you.
But
yeah, nice. Yes, maybe someone also has a question.
I have one.
Stuart?
Yep. So you've mentioned both the Peace Corps and American House, I believe it was called, are based in Kiev and Lviv, and you do online clubs in different cities. How easily accessible are resources in other regional capitals? So I'm based in Ternopil.
Oh, okay.
Now, they used to have Peace Corps volunteers here, but I don't know if they do anymore. So I'm just thinking, I don't do online, I do in-person clubs. So having a visitor is even better. But where do I find them? Firstly, would they travel? Are there groups that are in other regional cities around Ukraine?
So with the Peace Corps right now, unfortunately, they're all 100% online.
Okay.
Once with the war, um, they've taken all of the volunteers out of Ukraine,
No.
all the virtual educators out of Ukraine, and everything is online now. But I mean, yeah, maybe I can connect you with the
Well, I was thinking with the American House volunteers, they are in Ukraine or do they also work online?
they are in Ukraine. So Charlie, this guy here,
Yep.
he actually lives in Kiev.
In Kiev. Okay. But
Yeah.
do you know if these groups have other volunteers in other cities? You mentioned Lviv, but that was Peace Corps.
Well, I guess they have American House Odessa, American House
Oh,
Lviv. They have a lot of American houses, but some of them were shut down temporarily with the new administration change.
right.
All, everything was paused.
Mm.
So with the new administration, with the Trump administration coming in, my my work was actually paused. I wasn't sure if we were going to have virtual educators even in Ukraine. So yeah, it's and even the American houses were paused, but they're opening up again. And yeah, there's a lot of them. American
Yep.
houses, American Corner. I don't know if they have American Corner right now in Ukraine,
Mm.
but they're all
Yep.
over in Hungary.
Okay. No.
But yeah, if you want, you can send me your email address too in the chat.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll send these resources in the chat as well. And there's also some additional resources that you can access here, American English state.gov resources. You can use this QR code. They have some publications here with the English teaching form. And yeah, it's been helpful. They have some like free textbooks you can use as well, which is awesome. Awesome. Um, yeah, I think yeah, this is really helpful. And yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
everything
Thank
I
you
have.
very much, Elizabeth. Thank you for
Thank
such
you.
an interesting workshop, for your practical ideas, for personal experience, for sharing with us your personal experience. That was great. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
let me introduce our next speaker. This is Jordan Brown, MA, an English language fellow at Ada University in Baku, Azerbaijan. Jordan previously worked at Bilkent University, Koch University, and Kanzai University as an English lecturer. Today, Jordan is going to present the workshop on the topic Gamify Reading Skills. It focuses on integrating gamifying tools to fully support learning. In this workshop, we will familiarize ourselves with a Jeopardy Labs.com game, which can be used to develop students' reading skills, increase their motivation, and raise the spirit of competition. So I would like to give the floor to Jordan. Please, you're welcome.
Hi, how is everybody?
Right.
I know at least one person is
Fine, fine.
happy. Okay, great. All right, let me share. Okay, so usually when I do this workshop, I have people actually play the games. Um, I'm not sure how well that's going to work with our number here, but we'll figure it out together, I think. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, can you guys hear me okay? I hear a little feedback. Okay, wonderful. Gamifying reading skills. Just a little bit about myself first, I guess. I guess I have a similar job to Liz. I'm an English language fellow, but I'm in person in Azerbaijan. These are my students, in their literacy class, and these are the teachers that I do teacher trainings with. Before I give you the definition, could someone in the chat tell me what gamify means? You can just type. It's okay, you don't have to turn on your mic. Yeah, great. Thank you. So using the "-ify at the end just means making something more like a game. And we tend to use it with either actually playing a game or just using game-like elements inside of your teaching. For example, I know you guys are all adults, but I chose this color scheme and this moving PowerPoint because it looks kind of like a game. And even just on sometimes can get kids' attention away from just a still screen. So we can make it more like a game through how it looks or even just through using competition in our classes. You have to know your students a little bit. If the competition seems overwhelming for them, you can tone it down. Sometimes I play the games, but I don't give points, and people still, want to rush to go first, but maybe the points makes it a little bit too extreme, depending on who you have in your class. So the reason we gamify is just really to get student interest, but also to work on their 21st century skills. Because games involve a lot of cooperation and collaboration, we can kind of get students to work together more. And I personally started using gamification with reading because I noticed that my students don't like to read at all. Um, Definitely not the first time, but if I want them to read a second or third time, I feel like I have to kind of encourage them a little bit. Let's go on. Are we able to use breakout rooms?
Okay, let me see. I believe yes. Yes.
Okay. Let's try it. Oh, okay. Okay, so what I would like you to do is you're going to discuss these questions in your breakout room. You may not get to all questions, that's okay. I'm going to also put them in the chat.
Okay, Jordan, how many rooms, how
Uh,
many breakout rooms do you need?
Okay, ideally make the rooms large, so maybe 4 rooms in case some people aren't there. And we'll say for about 5 minutes. Hope everyone's back. Oh, it says 19, so maybe not. Okay, so unfortunately, as we go through these games, we won't have time to fully finish any of them, but I just hope to draw your attention to a few of them. So I'm going to show you, based on these questions, this game is called Bamboozle. Have any of you heard of this before? I learned this from a colleague in Japan. It was his go-to game, and then I stole it. Bamboozle means to trick people. So you'll see why in a moment. So when you play the free version, you can have up to 4 teams, which I feel like is usually sufficient for your class. We have other versions where you can play different versions of the game. I'm going to play the, I guess, meanest one where you have everything on. So fairy means you can take points away from people. Thief means you can give some points. So we're going to see how that works. Let's see. Going a little slower than normal. Okay. So what will happen is each team will take turns picking a number. So could someone from breakout room 1 pick a number for me? Do you remember which breakout room you were in? Okay. All right. I guess we don't have anyone from breakout room 1. Breakout room 2? Okay. Breakout room 3.
I think it was difficult because we were discussing different issues,
Uh-huh.
but we didn't pay attention to the
Yeah, we do not
number of
remember
the.
the number of our group, unfortunately.
It was group 1.
Oh, okay. So we are from group 1.
Okay.
Okay. So group 1, pick a number.
We can take 1.
Okay. So some of these have questions on them and some of them have something else. So for here, yeah, I'll go ahead and just ask you this one. What do you think the role of competition is in games-based learning?
Well, it's really great because competition can stimulate the performance of the students. Especially, I noticed, especially well when I deal with male students, IT students or mathematicians, they like to compete. They try to be the first, to take the first position in the group. So I can even offer them the just to take the certain places and give the upper score to those who will take the first place, for example, in this competition.
I noticed I was playing ping pong with my friend and we weren't very good at it. But then we started trying to count in Turkish instead to work on our language practice, and we got a lot better. So sometimes maybe focusing on the competition can maybe lower our effective filter a bit. Yeah, I agree. So I'll go ahead and give you guys the points. Okay, team 2. We don't know someone from team 2. That's fine. So for the sake of time, I'll just go through. Maybe let's see. No, they got the point. Okay. So sometimes when you click on them, you have something that's not a question instead. And you can see in this example, team two gets to take points from team three and they can pick how many they want. So let's say they pick 25. That means they get 25, team three loses 25. And we can use this type of game for, you know, what I'm doing with you, which is just activating schemata, thinking about what they know about the topic before they start reading, or you can use it at the end for comprehension questions. For skimming in particular, there's two different things you could do. You could have a skimming race, so the first team to finish wins, or what we're going to do, which is that once the first person finishes reading something, then everyone else has to stop. So for the sake of this, the next two games, I have an article for you to read. You put it in the chat. So you're not really going to read it, you're just going to skim it, which means you're just looking for the most important ideas as fast as possible. We should be able to finish in under 2 minutes. And the first person to finish skimming, please let me know and we'll stop. If no one lets me know, then I'm going to stop after 2 minutes. All right, was anyone able to access the text? There is a link in the chat. We're just having a race to see who can finish skimming this first. Okay, so we have someone finished. That means everyone needs to stop. So what this would do is set everyone at the same pace. We have two more games to follow. These games are going to use that article. For both of these games, I encourage you to look at the article instead of relying on your memory, because we're working on scanning. We're not working on our memory. So this first game is called Find the Word First. And what you do is you give the students a definition of the word and the page they need to find it on. So this word means showing how to do something, and it's on page 40 of the link that I just sent you. So when you know what it is, please say, or you can open your mic, or you can just type the word in the chat. Showing how to do something. Close. So for mine, what I like to do is pick the same part of speech that the students are going to use. So I have showing how to do something. So my word is also a gerund. This is a teacher word. You probably use it. Yes, modeling. Good. All right, our next one is on page 43, and this means the same thing as other versions. Page 43, other versions. Yes, variations. And our last one on page 43 means longer versions.
I know what it is. I just want to give others the. There it is. Good.
Yes, yeah, thank you, extensions. Um, so for these words, when you're picking them for your students, I think you should pick words that are in the receptive vocabulary. They shouldn't need to look any of these words up, but maybe words that they aren't so prone to use very often. Modeling is not a great example of that, but so words that like they won't struggle with, but they still want to work on developing. Our last game, and we'll see how well we can play this in this context. We won't be able to have teams, of course. Um, you can have teams online with your students, but you just need to make sure that everyone has a stable connection, everyone is present. So this is Jeopardy. How many of you have played Jeopardy before? No one? Okay. So one thing I really like about Jeopardy is that it's free. I have the game pre-made here, but let me show you the website where you make it. You go to Jeopardy Labs, and you can go to find a Jeopardy game, and you can find games that are already made if you want to do that, or create a game, which is what you're going to need to do if it's about your own specific reading text. But what's great about this is not only is it free, but it's also registration free, meaning you don't have to give anyone your email address. You won't have anyone contacting you, stuff like that. Just as soon as you make a game, when you create a password, and that means that you need this password to edit the game. But besides that, you just need the link to get it. No, I don't want to save that. So when you're making the game, you just type the title up here, you pick the different categories. And the game that I've made just to demonstrate with you, I have the different sections of an essay, of the article. But if you're working with students who aren't reading articles, you can pick different question types. You can pick different page numbers. And so with the game, the harder the harder the question is, the more points you earn. So down here at the bottom, these are the hardest questions for 500. Slightly easier 400, 300, 200, 100. If you don't like that for some reason, because to be honest, it is a little bit hard to make the questions consistently harder, with where the students agree with you, you can also change it. So if you really want to, you can make all of them by clicking on this section over there. You can, oops, well, it's not there because I didn't make it. You can change the point value. But how you'll do this is you'll break your students up into teams, and the students will pick a point value, and they are going to answer the question, but they'll do it using the article. So they should still be referencing the article, looking at it, reading it, and working together in their group. If you're online, you can send them to breakout rooms, but you'll just have to make much fewer questions to get this to work. So for example, let's say someone picks 100. The extra thing about Jeopardy is the question is the answer. So we have here the answer, the man who wrote the article. To answer this question, you need to phrase it like a question. So my answer would be, who is Kevin McCoffey? And then my team would get points. Sorry. My team would get points. If it's correct, you hit plus. If it's incorrect, you hit minus. Sorry, my computer thinks that the space is for Zoom and not for this. Am I stuck here? Okay, anyway. And then the next group goes, like, let's say they want a harder question, or I'll not make it too much harder. Let's see if you can find the answer to this one. This will be an overview, meaning the answer needs to be in the overview section for 200. The people who will contribute to the game. If you know the answer, you can put it in the chat box here. Yes, who are the students? You guys get that correct. All right. And so the way that I made these questions harder for this version is the closer the wording is to the original in the text, the less points it's worth. When I had some that were more of a paraphrase of the text, and those are worth 500 or so. Here, I have a QR code, but I can also put it in the chat. Let me see. Here is a written description of how you set up and play the game in case I was going too fast or your internet cut out or something. And then besides just using Jeopardy, you can apply the same logic to different games like Kahoot, Bamboozle, Quizlet Live, or Quizzes, just to keep some variety. But the main point is that students should still have access to the article, and they should still be referencing and reading the article while they play the game. Often I see teachers use comprehension questions with these games, and it's more like a memory test. How well can our students remember the text? Which may be your goal, but for most of us, our goal is to actually have them improve their reading skills. So giving them the text and letting them go back through it as they play is crucial. So just to summarize, the games that I went over were setting time limits for people to skim through. using bamboozle discussion questions as kind of a gamified think, pair, share. And then for our last one, having kind of like an open book test through a game format to encourage students to read again. Thank you guys for coming and participating with me. I have here, this is a QR code that shows the website where I found the article. It's full of a lot of different easy to apply strategies for class. And this is a link to this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to contact me, you can, this is like my professional Instagram, but you can also just email me here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jordan. Thank you for such an engaging workshop. We had much fun. I believe it's really great to use games and gamifying tools to develop learners' reading skills, gaming skills, and to increase their motivation. That's really great. Thank you. So, dear participants, now we'll have a break, a short break, and in 20 minutes, we are going to join another section. And in this section, you will meet the following presenters: Katerina Kovalchuk, Stuart Mattinson, and Olena Rumyanets. So, enjoy the convention, take a break. See you in 20 minutes.